We got this package right after we found out they had ringworm, and I didn't want all the stuff inside contaminated, so we've been waiting for the threat to subside before getting into it. This poor box has been waiting to be opened for so long that the label is actually bleached. Every cat that's seen it has tried to pry their way into it because they think every Amazon box is theirs. So I had to hide it from everyone until we were ready. I think this is their first time opening a present. For those who don't know, we rescued Spoingus and Bingus a while back and have been working on all their vetting so they can be adopted out. They were pretty ill and had too much going on to neuter them at the time, so that's our next step. They've been living in our isolation space ever since. They're some of the sweetest cats I've ever met, and it's such a shame someone would abandon them like that. They're a bonded pair, so they'll have to go together, and I imagine that that's going to make it a bit harder for us to find them a good home. I don't think they're very old, but they are adult cats rather than kittens, so that adds an extra layer of complexity when looking for a potential place. Personally, I prefer older animals that have already been through their wild, tearing down the house phase, but the reality is, most people are looking for puppies and kittens when adopting. What did you get? Is that your stuff? Are you hoarding? Is that all yours? Can you see what you got? This is it. Oh no, you don't want me to take it? Okay, I'm sorry. Did you get some dewormer? We do a lot of deworming around here, usually for the strays and new intakes. There are all kinds of options to pick from, but I've been using Landco products like Drontal for a while now, so I happen to trust the quality of this tapeworm tablet a bit more than the others. This one is labeled for dogs, but pyrantel dewormers like this don't work on tapeworms. Dogs need 5 milliliters per 10 pounds of body weight, whereas a cat gets 1. So if you're dosing them like a dog, you're going to be giving them 5 times more than you should be. It's an extremely easy mistake to make if you don't know any better, so please be careful. The tapeworm pills are big and hard to break down into a fine enough powder for it not to bother them when I hide it in the food, so I had to bust out the mortar and pestle for this one. The inner surface is unfinished marble, so it's smooth but it provides the necessary friction. I like this mushroom style one for medications as it keeps the bits and pieces contained in a dish better than the standard variety. I wish I could find one of these in glass though. I'm so nosy, I like to be able to see what's going on inside. I always store mine in the box with a cardboard divider so it doesn't clink around in there and break. The mortar and pestle definitely came through for me here. I don't know why I didn't just use it last time. They're really easy to clean too. You just wipe it down with a damp cloth before storing. The last time I tried to feed these to everyone, almost all of them got rejected. This time, it was a success. I think the trick is to get it crushed down into the finest dust possible. Spoingus and Bingus are heavy enough that they actually needed a pill and a half each, so off camera I ended up repeating the same process for the extra half a pill. I figured if I put it all in one churu, they would be able to taste too much of it and probably reject it. On a side note, this is my favorite pen. It reminds me of those baby bottles from back in the day that had the disappearing juice inside. I'm too scatterbrained to remember on my own, so I have to log any kind of medications they get. If you have to take them to the vet, or even just re-administer it at some point, you'll want to be able to look back and see what they've had and when. It's made my life so much easier. I feel like ear hygiene is such an overlooked topic until there's a problem. Then you've got a cat wandering around shaking their head constantly, trying to get whatever's in there to come out. You should always be checking for obstructions in the ear cavity before using something like this. You wouldn't want to accidentally push a chunk of earwax or cat litter deeper into their ear canal. Also, it's a good general rule of thumb, no pun intended, to change the wipe between ears. If they have mites or some kind of infection, you could inadvertently transfer it to the other ear. These are my go-to ear wipe. They're so convenient, they just slip on your finger like a little puppet. They have a textured surface that helps grab onto debris and scrub away any wax or gunk. For these guys, I employ a bit of a reach around from behind their head so they don't see it coming technique. Only 2 of the cats here let me clean their ears without getting super irritated. I get it though. With the wipes being wet and cold, most of them don't appreciate me getting up in there like I do. They need to invent a cat wet wipe warmer like they have for babies. You can also go behind with a Q-tip or tissue and dry their ear up to make them more comfortable and to keep any residual moisture from collecting in there if you're neurotic like me and worried about causing a breeding ground for bacteria. I think the time has finally come. These poor blankets can be laid to rest and replaced at last. They've held up surprisingly well through all the wear and tear. The only thing that's happened is this hem came apart here, and that happened fairly early on, and it stayed intact through like 50 different wash cycles after that. So I'm super impressed. I will forever use these blankets until they quit making them. So long, old friends, you served us well.